is to activate an AF1. First and foremost, I'm going to say peace, power, and soul. And we are the Futurtarians. And I'm going to break down downloads versus uploads. When you're dealing with downloads, downloads is old. Downloads deal with moon frequency. Like when I tell everybody, when you have to tap into your Akashic records, you go out when it's a full moon and you tap into your Akashic records when it's a full moon. What's the Akashic records? AF1, past lives. Where were you at in past lives? Can you tap in, or can you or do you tap out? Dealing with the moon frequency, dealing with the lunar frequency. That's why the moon's been placed there, because the moon has not been it. When you look at the theory of the planet, another planet colliding with Earth and making the moon, anybody with logical sense will know that that theory is shaky. That theory is very shaky. Dealing with the outskirts of the solar system, going back to the planets that have the moons, Jupiter, Saturn, I think Uranus got moons. They got multiple moons because they're in the outskirts. One of the reasons. But if you're dealing with the inskirts of the solar system, why does the Earth only have a moon in the inskirts of the solar system? That's questionable right there. See, going back to downloads, when people download stuff, they're downloading stuff off books, they're downloading stuff off the internet, they're downloading stuff off old knowledge, hidden knowledge. It wasn't called hidden intel. It was called hidden knowledge, because our ancestors back in the day, they knew that what they were receiving back at that time, it was valuable. So they hid it. And now people are going, you got the Ethernet out, and people are going and they're downloading stuff that's old. That's the difference between downloads and uploads. Downloads and uploads are different things, because downloads deal with information, uploads deal with intel. I'm going to repeat myself. Downloads deal with information, uploads deal with intelligence. Moving stuff forward, altering and shifting the paradigm, altering and shifting how teachers teach, altering and shifting, social media platforms. That's intelligence, and that's power. That is an electrical surge that's going through the cyberverse. An electrical surge that's going through the cyberverse, dealing with downloads, because people can download anything that they want to, but they have to be activated to tap into what? The uploads being activated. That's why the moon deals with downloads, the sun deals with uploads. Uploading what's next, tapping in, because when you're dealing with the solar rays and you're dealing with these planets that are on the outskirts of the solar system, and the sun rays still reach those planets, because when you're dealing with a coding system, the code system, the number system, it's still shooting codes out. The sun's still reaching the whole solar system. Even though it might be cold, because radiation can shoot through almost anything. Radiation can shoot through almost anything. The sun deals with uploads. The moon deals with downloads. Downloading what? Going back to your Akashic records. Or going back to something that's just even old. Look at the state that the golden race is in. Look at the whole state. Now, if you sit there and you want to analyze, why is everything happening the way it's happening right now? And still, there's no power. There's no power. Everybody's taking orders from somebody. I don't care what pinnacle you on. Everybody's taking orders from somebody. I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about, right? You're independent. You have your own business. So you have your own business. You're calling the shots, but then you still have to take orders from what? Who? Who do you got to take orders from? You got to take orders from the IRS. The IRS is who you are taking orders from. See, when you start thinking on this level, when you start thinking on uploads, being uploaded, how to shake that? How you going to shake the IRS? How you going to shake the IRS and putting that to a halt? It's power. That's it. Look at all the millionaires and billionaires that get tax breaks. Right? Churches have somewhat power dealing with regular people. Do the churches pay taxes? No, they don't. Churches do not pay taxes because you got state and then you have church. They don't pay taxes. See, this is the mind frame where we're moving to. Altering and shifting the paradigm, going straight to each source. Going straight to each source. Well, what's the solution, AF1? The solution is being uploaded and not downloaded. The solution is being uploaded and not downloaded. You have to be uploaded, going up. Right? There's some interesting, okay, I'm going to use, because I always got to go 3D for y'all. I'm going to use the earth as an example. There's interesting things when you look down. You might see, an ant colony. You might even find some gold. Shoot, you might even find some money on the ground. You might even look at the ocean and be like, oh, that's beautiful. Right? But what when you look up? And I'm not talking about in the physical. I'm talking about receiving what's next. Futuristic uploads. The uploads are always going to over-succeed the downloads. The downloads are temporary. Uploads keep going. They keep coming. Downloads are temporary. Uploads keep beaming, keep coming, dealing with the rays. Tapping into uploads or tapping into downloads. The Futurtarians, we're tapping into the uploads, altering and shifting the paradigm. There's really, truthfully, there's nothing else. There's nothing else but intel. That's it. Futuristic. Portal travel. Soul portal travel. How do you travel? How do you get your soul to travel through a portal? It's called activation because it's activation time. Seeing where these uploads is coming from. Where are they coming from? They're coming from multiple suns. It's not just our sun. It's coming from radiation, period. Radiation, period. Dealing with quasars. Dealing with what's the biggest thing in the universe? Because you go on Siri, Google, and Alexa, and you can. What's the biggest sector in the universe? The biggest sector in the universe is called the void. It's dark, dealing with dark matter. That's the biggest sector in the universe, is the void, dealing with dark matter. Dark matter plays a factor for this 3D dimensional realm and also the upper dimensions, dealing with stuff that's dark, because dark matter is the canvas. It's a canvas. Dark matter is a canvas. Without dark matter, you cannot get a picture, you cannot get sound, you cannot get sight, you cannot get taste, you cannot get touch, and you cannot get activation. The whole goal of being down here in the three-dimensional realm is to be activated, because then the future beings, which is ourselves that are in the upper dimensions, they know that you tapped in. They know you tapped in, the ones with the ones, the 1111. The 1111, the ones with the ones. They know you tapped in. because everything is being played out. When you're dealing with these movies, okay, I'm gonna use the Terminator. All right, go back to the like couple of first Terminators, and when Arnold Schwarzenegger had to go back in the past because he had to protect I forgot that kid's name, but he had to protect the child that was a factor in the future. But he had to come back from the future to the past to protect and make sure that that individual made it through that period in a time frame. And that's what's going on right now, dealing with the age of Aquarius, dealing with the uploads being uploaded. Just like when Neo sat down in that chair and they hooked that a computer up to his neurals, his neurotransmitters in the back of his head. They had to upload what? Upload next things that he didn't know nothing about. The uploads. Uploading. Because when you're dealing with mind extension and moving forward, when it comes to that, downloads mean nothing. Downloads mean nothing. Uploads is always going to be on the top of the pinnacle. Dealing with the futuristic uploads. Top of the pinnacle. That's why November 11th is coming. That's the Futurtarians Day. That's our day. November 11th is 11/11. And it's so critical. That day is so critical because that's when you're going into the winter solstice. When you start to go into the winter solstice, receiving the rays and the downloads through the winter solstice. Very critical times when you're dealing with November 11th and getting ready for the winter solstice. The same thing with the Indians, the natives, same thing what our people did, the ones that were spread out through the planet, dealing with the golden beans. They were spread out through the planet, through the cold, through every climate, because the carbon in our body was already adjustable. The carbon in our body was already adjustable to certain climates. Cold climates, windy climates, rainy climates, foggy climates, sunny climates, of course, cold climates. But that's why, because getting ready for the winter solstice, not letting the cold frequency, not letting the freezing frequency, right, tap into your mental state of your uploads. Because even when you're dealing with the equator on the earth also shifts. It also shifts during the winter solstice. It might be 96 degrees at the equator, but it's still having a shift because everything is being affected by the winter solstice. Everything's being affected by the winter solstice. Everything's still moving. Minds are still moving. That's why I say energy and motion stays in motion. Minds are still moving. Even though if you're not moving, your mind needs to still be moving. Receiving what? Uploads. Uploading what's next. Tapping in. Not relying on Google, Siri, and Alexa. Keeping your mind moving, keeping your electricity in your mind flowing. The current. Not letting nobody deter you from uploads. Your uploads are going to come if you tapped in. If you're tapped in, your uploads are going to come. See, like I said, there's a couple of books that people need to be reading, but I'm not finna say it on the internet no more because you're not a futurtarian. But the rest of these books out here serve no purpose. What do they really serve? This is, okay, I'm going to use this as an example, right? If you had no books, no library, would you still survive? Would you still exist? Would you still exist and still survive if there was no books? There was no books, no internet, no Siri, no Google, no Alexa. Would you still survive? So why is it so critical for that to be out here? It's critical for that to be out here because it's called the loop process. Meta. It's called the loop process. The metaverse. And a lot of people are going to be consumed in the double black holes, mentally, soulfully, thinking that you're moving, but you're not moving nowhere, stagnant, confusion on your deathbed, body confused, DNA confused, soul confused. The transition will feel like you standing in front of a sun. The burning of your soul as you transition, knowing that the future is in front of you. Sun worship? Never. Even our ancestors understood the sun. They understood that it was bigger than just heat. It was bigger than just carbon, melanin, way bigger than that. It was a tool to be accessed for what? Downloads. Conductors on your head, conductors, certain metals. Going back to Egypt, when they had the gold serpents on their head. When you have a crown on your head, where do you think that Europe got the gold crowns on their head from? They got that from the ancestors. The ancestors got that from who? The ascendants, the ones in the future. So why is it so critical? Right, dealing with the elements. Elements. What is the L? The L, right? When you're dealing with the Bible, when you already know these people done took the Bible and put their whole, they didn't even put 1 foot in it. They put 2 feet in that book. L, what's the L? The Elohims. The mint, what's that? The mind. Elements. Using what? The elements. What's the element? The gold, the copper, the titanium, the silver, to do what? Control the regulars. Elements. Who did they get that from? The ascendants. Dealing with downloads versus uploads. The downloads will always play a factor to keep you down mentally. The downloads will always play a factor to keep you down mentally. Now you got the uploads, uploading. Uploading what? What's next? What's futuristic? A receiver, fire, electricity, radiation, electrodes, electrons, neutrons, stardust. Anything to keep your uploads uploading. Tapping into it. The unseen. Not the seen, the unseen. Because you can be tapped in the unseen, but when you open your mouth and you talk and it's something old, then you're not tapped in. That's still old. That is still old. The moon will react off the solar rays every time, especially when it's in dark matter. The moon will react off solar rays every time when it's in dark matter. It has to be second, not first. Now the moon's getting further away from the planet. The moon's getting further away from the planet. And as the sun's getting closer to the planet. How ironic is that? So downloads are getting further away from your mind while the uploads are getting stronger and extending. Being consumed, dealing with the past. The moon deals with the past, Akashic records. The planet deals with the present. The sun deals with the future. They all have to play a part in this 3D realm and work together for the ones to move forward. And you will see it. You will see it. Because as everything starts speeding up, to the majority of the people that's on the planet, it's going to start getting blurry to them. Vision's going to get blurry. Their mind's going to get blurry. Their thought process will get blurry. Their motivation will get blurry. Because the 1111s with the 2 dots are the portals. Futuristic souls through portals. Dealing with downloads and dealing with uploads. Which one's going to be on top at the end? Futurtarians are picking the uploads. It's the activated AF1, peace, power, and soul. If you like the way the world is, don't like, don't share, don't subscribe. But if you want it to alter, move at the speed of light.